All right, guys. As you can see, we're having Clash of Titans. I think that's what I'm going to name this video. Right, but it's happening 10 a.m. and this shows so many things that I've just talked about very quickly now. That the Asian series or the Asian model or whatever we're going to call it, right, doesn't necessarily mean that it ends in Asia. And that goes for all of your trades also. You get the trades inside of the session, and if you're lucky, if it's fast, you have your TP inside of that session. And if you're not, you'd have to allow it to play out. It's the biggest, most underrated thing that is not being spoken about as much. Allowing your trades to play out is just king, all right. And just like this morning, waking up and just seeing price here when I slept when price was here is crazy, right? But let's talk about what happened here first. And this is the Asian series. It's a series that would not take 6, 7 minutes of your time, but I'll be breaking down the ideas that I engaged inside of the Asian session for gold. That's it. And the goal is to improve how you see execution and be able to execute with confidence and courage where you're not afraid to put on the trade, right? And I think this video also would show how I do it, right? So now we already talked about this. The possibility of a loss is always there. There's always going to be, let's go into another goal that doesn't distract us a bit. The possibility of a loss is always there. And until you agree with that fact, you would always be scared of executing. You would always, be jittery when you want to put in a position. Right. So what was I doing coming into Asia? Right. London's New York session was great. I wanted to sell here. So if you remember, the last Asia session was here and I held that into London also, even towards the entrance of New York. I think I was closing out my position somewhere around here. Right. So, but see what happened as price was going back here, sell side minded, I wanted to sell this. But the reason why I did not sell this was simple. I already made profits on this move. It was good enough. Why put in the possibility of a loss? The more you expose yourself, the more losses that you can make, right? And that was the reason I didn't sell this, and I would have taken that 1% loss if I did take this. So that was a good call, even though I wasn't right. And that is where the humility, the trader mindset is really instilled. When you really can accept that you don't know the outcome, and whatever you are doing would just be playing by educated guess and what you can afford to risk. And telling yourself the truth about what you can afford to risk is what makes it better, which is, can I afford to take that loss right now? And it doesn't matter how profitable you are, right? If you can't let it go, then just let the trade be. It's a better bet because not taking a trade is also a position. In fact, it's a better position than losing money. So that's one for one there. So we saw price again expand, in New York session. All right. Some of the guys in the inner circle killing this. The inner circle has been exciting, has been beautiful. And I'm saying this to just digress a bit because 2 weeks back I was really feeling very down and off, just like any business. We also have, our challenges, churn rates, and all of that was going high because of just the market condition in July, right? But again, with everything, just like I would show you with this trade, systems would always prevail, right? The problem is some people would fall off before the system works. And I see this every single time. Like you start something and it starts to go well. Now, because you have a little bit of drawback, right? Maybe finances, maybe mindset, maybe you do an account, then you feel like, no, 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 this thing is not working, and you change. It happens also with strategy, like you just switch everything that you have a little bit of problem with. And that's not how systems work. The system doesn't say that you won't take losses. The system of your life becoming successful doesn't say that there won't be obstacles. it says that even with the obstacles, if you keep going, you're gonna make it out. That's just it. So yeah, it's not a preaching or psychology call. So let me go ahead. Right. So I came into Asia session. This is Asia session. This is London session. I have these blocks, that give me it's been super helpful, and I got it from a friend, Oluwan. I'm grateful for him. Right. But these blocks here, this rectangle boxes are sessions. This is Asia session. This is London session. Then we'll get into New York. Then we'll get into New York launch. And to just give you that for free, it is ICTQ zone and pivots. You go into um where is it? Indicators. Find indicators somewhere. Yeah, find indicators somewhere. And then I don't know why my indicators is not showing the way it's supposed to show. But when you go into your indicator section, look for ICTQ zone and pivots, TFO. Maybe on another call, I'll show you. Let's move fast. We have time on our side. This is 6 minutes or 5 minutes already. So price runs higher, takes out New York's launch low, right? What we call London close. Just the session after New York. It starts from 13:30 till 15:55. If you trade the indices markets, you will know this Q zone, right? But price takes out that high shallow. This is something I'm gonna journal just right now after this call. Price takes out that high shallow run on liquidity. And again, the mindset of sell side is still that's what I came into the week with. And I was asking my guys yesterday that there's the idea that when you have chosen a path to follow in price, I am quite confident about that path, maybe buy side or sell side, right? It's always hard to switch to the other side, even though you can see that the other side is playing out. Now, not that you can't switch, and not that, sometimes I don't switch, but before I switch, I need to have like a clear conviction. And I was talking about it here because it's like I could see these equal highs, but also I wanted the other PDRAs that I had here to work, like breaker, like Asia's low, like all of those things, and I didn't want all of this to play out. Right. So two things will happen. It's either I just allow price to do what he wants to do because now it's a double-edged sword, or I take my trade. So now in this case, look at this. The three-step process, which is what I want you guys to really, really, really hone in on, is price takes out buy side liquidity. There's a breaking market structure. There's a possibility of a trade. And if it's happening inside of the New York session, that is, or inside of the session that you're trading, that is all. That is all, family. So it has taken out buy side, it has broken sell side, right? And then we have the possibility of a trade. Let me show you guys this so that you don't think I'm just, speaking here. The moment I see that it's a trade, and this is, the 20TC club for the inner circle. This is where we put off all of our trades. The moment you come into the inner circle, you take 20 trades straight, following a strict rule, just like I'm showing you. So I started the series, and I've been posting exactly those trades here, right? So look at it. So the moment price gets there, which is buy side liquidity, we can talk from here, right? Breaking market structure. I'm selling the mitigation block. So it is run on buy side liquidity, breaking market structure, and price returning back into premium. You see, my stop loss covers that high because this can go into any of these levels. Not to have stories that touch. Maybe, oh, from mitigation block, we just went around lower. That's why I'm having my entry here. And if my stop loss can cover it, I'm good. And that was the trade, right? But what happened to the trade? It ended up in a loss. But this is where it gets interesting. This video is going to be a little bit long, but we can afford it because it's important. This is where it gets interesting, right? As price was getting into that level, I was watching it. This is what you do. Like, you need to forget your P&L and watch what I've just taken. What is the reaction of it? At least in the first 15 minutes, you need to be with it and, really, really on seeing, oh, what you did. So as I was looking at that, I'm like, and I was having a conversation with a friend so at the time, and I said, and the price was somewhere around there, and I'm like, this doesn't look like a good trade, but I'm already in it, right? And before I also got in, I told him I'm going to just be using a little size 0.5% on this one. All right. it doesn't look like the best of trades. Yeah, the parameters are there, but sometimes you just feel it in your guts that this is not the type of trade, right? And that doesn't mean that you need to end the position. Now, there's mastery for this, right? But if you're really just starting out, and even if you've been in the game, this would be the best thing that you need to do to allow your trades run, just like I'll show you also in a bit, right? So it didn't look like a good position just halfway through, and I could have called it short, but I made a bet myself. This is what we're going to do. We use zero point 0.5, right? If we take out these highs, and if we take out these highs, right, I would obviously have taken the loss, but I would buy these highs as mitigation block. Why? Why would I buy these highs as mitigation block? Let's get back into price and look at that so that we can be a bit fluid. Now, I'll buy those highs as a mitigation block. Why? I'll buy those highs as a mitigation block because this was breaking market structure. We had price return back into premium. This is so interesting because it happened literally like last week or last 2 weeks, the same idea. And the same thing I did. I wanted to try to sell here, but the only reason why I did not get that loss was because I was in the gym. So I missed getting into that entry. But when I saw this break, I bought and it worked out fine. So that's exactly what I did, right? So from here, when I was looking at it, I marked out that high, right? I marked out this high like this as a mitigation block. How is it a mitigation block? The run lower, right, or the high of a retracement lower is a mitigation block. This is a retracement. Why? It doesn't take out sell side liquidity. And for it to be confirmed as a mitigation block, there needs to be a break in market structure. And let me show you how the three-step process falls in. Run on sell side liquidity, break in market structure, return back into discount. So what was the trade? The trade was what? This long position, entry here, stop loss at this low. This is dealing ranges. We did a very beautiful system talk in our wow, that's TP. We did a very beautiful system talk in our Wednesday psychology call in the inner circle. Great. If you're on the fence and you want the next 3 months of your life to be crazy, then you need to be in the inner circle. That's all I'm going to say. I think today's 21, and we've started to get in members again for the next 9 days. And after that, it's going to be shut down. So if you are thinking about it, then shoot me a DM. All right, but look at that. And I'll just go back to where I have this, right? So that's it. Like you see, that's exactly the trade. Let me take out this one so that you can see properly. Right. So we take out a high and we return back there, and I was already buying. Right. And I waited and waited and waited. And price was just, before I got to bed, price was coming back down here and it was 4 a.m. I'm like, you know what, family? Because I was talking to my friend. I'm like, I have to go and sleep. Whatever is going to happen with this, let it happen. Right. And I literally just woke up, some minutes ago, got to prayer and got to doing this video. So guys, I hope you learned something from this. This one was quite long, but there were lessons inside of there that would help you, see what we do better. My goal is that at the end of the year, we have a lot more funded traders and a lot more people actually getting money from the markets because yes, it's possible. Family, I would see you inside of this day or next week, on the series. Bye.